All right, so here we go into time management. And I know time management is an area that a lot of you struggle in, and quite frankly, that's normal. Managing time is something that's hard, and it takes time to really figure out a system that works for you. So I'm really hoping that this week you'll gain some new tips and tricks, not only from me, but from your classmates as well, on different ways that you can manage your time. The best advice I have for you is don't do what doesn't work for you. So if you've tried a system before and it doesn't work, then don't do it. Don't waste your time. Use things that work for you. So that's going to require you to really try different things and find systems that do work. My other best piece of advice is to get yourself organized. And so if you live in a room that, is honestly a disaster, my advice is to get that picked up and to at least have a space in there that is for schoolwork so that you can concentrate and have an area that works well for you. And when you're organized in your personal life, you're more likely to be organized in your academic life as well. So do what your mom has told you and get organized. So let's go ahead and move over to the PowerPoint here and look at some strategies. So first off, time management is your choice. You can decide to do this, you can decide not to do it. Maybe you decide to do it in a year from now. You'll remember the things that you learned, but it's definitely something that you have to be conscious about, and you have to decide, okay, I'm ready to make these changes and to make better choices. We all have the same 24 hours in the day. And so the person who is more organized and that has a system is most likely going to get more done because they're able to move from one task to the next very easily. And so again, just finding that system that works for you is really important. The GRAB method is one that's just really easy to remember. So the G stands for setting a goal. So what is your own personal goal around time management? So spend some time thinking about that. And my recommendation is that you start small and then move on to another goal. So, don't try to take on too much to manage your time, because that's when, you throw up your hands and you decide, I can't do this. But just start with something small. Maybe that something small is researching the different, apps that are out there that you could put on your phone, or really looking at, say, Google Calendar and how you can color code things and that type of thing. So just spend some time researching your options, but, do that and then start the implementation process. The R is you need to consider your responsibilities. So what goes into your own schedule, and what are those things that you have to take into consideration as you're planning how your time goes throughout the week. So for example, I serve on a committee with the college. We meet every Monday from 3 to 5. So that affects my personal life because I'm home a little bit later. And so, picking up kids and starting dinner and those types of things, we know, because I've been on this committee for a long time, that Mondays are a little bit of a later day for me. And so my husband has to do a little bit more on those days. Doing an analysis of your time. This can be really helpful to really look at, where do I spend my time? Where does it go? And so I highly recommend that you track your day, see how it goes. How much time did you spend, texting a friend or being on social media or watching Netflix? We're all guilty of that, so don't feel bad, myself included. But really taking a real good snapshot of, how do I spend my time? How much time am I spending at the gym? How much time am I spending, studying for one subject instead of another because I really enjoy this piece of it, or whatever it might be. And then to make sure that you have balance. So it's important that with all the responsibilities you have going on, that you make time to binge watch Netflix or to have fun with friends, to go out and do something when that's possible. And so making sure that it's not just all about work, but that you have some playtime in there as well. So the master weekly schedule is just something that can be helpful. And it's something that I actually have on the resources. I'll go in there in just a second. But some of the things that you want to put in there is your class schedule and your study time. So a lot of people do not plan when they will study. And it's really important that your study time is planned, that you are very conscious about that in deciding when will you study. So I personally am a morning person and I get a lot of work done in the early mornings. I always have done this. And so I knew as a college student that if I got up early in the morning, I would get more done than if I stayed up late at night. And so looking at your own time and when you can fit your study time in, but it needs to be planned, and it should not just be planned, a couple days before the exam. So that's something that we'll talk about in a few weeks as far as when you should be studying. If you're working, what is your work schedule? Is it a set schedule every week or does it change? And so what does that work schedule look like? If it's possible, my recommendation is you plan, you have your class schedule, you have your study time, and then you say to your work, here's when I'm available. And so instead of saying, I get out of class at 12 when we are physically on campus, you say, I'm not available to be at work until 2 o'clock. That gives you a little bit of a buffer so that you can go and meet with your instructor, you can do group work, you can go in and see a counselor, you can see a librarian, those types of things. And then you're not like, oh, I don't have time to do that. So you're building it into your day. And then you obviously need to take into account your home responsibilities. When we are on campus, your commute time. So maybe you live in Novato and you take classes in Santa Rosa. So you need to take into account that commute and how are you spending that time? What's your morning routine? So some people, get out of bed and brush their teeth and get dressed. Other people, it's a whole elaborate process that takes, an hour and a half to 2 hours for them to get ready. And so looking at that and being honest with yourself, okay, that it takes that long for you to get ready. Or maybe you're the person that hits snooze 10 times before you get out of bed. So you wouldn't put that you get up at 8, maybe that's the time your alarm goes off, but you actually don't get out of bed until 8:30. And then also looking at what your downtime is, how do you relax and where does that fall within your day? And maybe it's different spots each day, but allowing yourself that time to relax and to come down. And then other things that you might have going on, sports, if you attend church services, any type of social groups. I know things are a little bit different right now, but in normal circumstances, where do you spend your time and how does that go? So let's look at the website here. All right, so down in here, there's a time management evaluation sheet. So you could do an evaluation of your time, and I'm in the resources section. Here's an example of a master weekly schedule. So this one is filled out. My connection was interrupted. Let's see. Let me push pause and come back. Oh, here it comes actually, never mind. Oh, snap. Okay, I'll be right back. Okay, I got it back up. So here's an example. So this student wakes up at 7, gets ready, drives to school, starts class at 9. Maybe they're actually not driving to school, they're doing everything online. So they just, go to wherever they're working. So here's their schedule. They have English 1A at 9. They have Humanities 6 at 11. This is on Mondays. They then eat lunch from 1 to 2. And then they're studying every day from 2 to 4. Okay. And so you can kind of see how they did their own schedule. Their workout time is in there. Their free time's in there. They're reviewing notes every day. Their work is in red. And so it just gives a good snapshot of what's going on and what this student is doing. And so in the resources section, I also have a blank one that you can look at, or not look at, that you could fill out yourself if you wanted to. Okay. And so this is just the intro to time management, and then the next video is going to include some various resources that you can use.